This was an attorney for PBS caught on camera saying the children of Trump supporters should be taken away from their parents and put in re-education camps. He was later fired, while voices in the media still call for Trump supporters to be deprogrammed.
There are millions of Americans, almost all white, almost all Republicans, who somehow need to be deprogrammed.
And the question is, how are we going to really almost deprogram these people who have signed up for the cult of Trump?
Trump supporters are also being called mentally ill and are being censored, doxxed, deplatformed, blacklisted, and demonetized. It's giving some who have lived in communist countries flashbacks. For those who lived under communist dictatorships, what's happening in America has some disturbing parallels. Chinese pastor Bob Fu was a student leader during the Tiananmen Square pro-democracy demonstrations in 1989. He was also a proud attendee of the January 6th Trump rally on the National Mall. He says the call to re-educate and deprogram Trump supporters is straight out of the Chinese Communist Party playbook.
It's absolutely these kind of tactics. They all requires forced conformity. If you don't comply, then you will be punished.
Elizabeth Rogliani's family had to flee Venezuela when Hugo Chavez took power. Her video warning last year to Americans about the similarities between the Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioting and what happened in Venezuela went viral.
I have already lived through this thing when I was living in Venezuela.
She says the labeling of Trump supporters as potential domestic terrorists was a tactic Hugo Chavez used to stigmatize his political opposition.
Calling out opposition or Republicans as terrorists or fascists, that is the kind of language I saw a lot. Late President Hugo Chavez used to call us fascists and terrorists as well.
Rogliani says one ominous sign for America has been all the conservatives flocking to more secure messaging platforms like Telegram, because that's exactly what happened in Venezuela when the Democratic opposition was deplatformed and opposition leaders began to be arrested.
We jumped into Telegram really early on, so I had it for years. I find that very interesting how it's happening so fast here.
Jason Poblet's grandfather had to flee Cuba when Fidel Castro took power. Poblet, an attorney who has worked in Congress, is president of the Global Liberty Alliance and says what happened in Cuba is replaying in the United States.
Dale, it's painful to watch. It's not something that I ever thought I would see in the United States. In Cuba, the socialist facilitators had been laying the groundwork. And by the time Fidel Castro rolled in, they had already laid that framework in place to take the government over.
German evangelist and author Heidi Mundt grew up in former communist East Germany, which called itself the German Democratic Republic. And she has harsh words for America's Democrats.
Your Democrats remind me to the German Democratic Republic, so the communist part of Germany, the east part of Germany. They also called themselves Democrats, but they were socialists, communists.
When Heidi, as a young woman, began to speak out against the East German government, she paid the price.
My career stopped, it was broken. So I could not find a job anymore.
Dissidents in East Germany and the old Soviet bloc were also called mentally ill and sent to hospitals, as they are today in China. Children were also taken away from dissidents.
In East Germany, they really took away children. They put them in orphanages, and the parents did not get them back. Yeah.
These voices warning Americans are not alone. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has compared the treatment of President Trump to Poland's communist era. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, sentenced last week to 2 years in a penal colony by Vladimir Putin's Russian government, called Donald Trump's Twitter ban an unacceptable act of censorship.
All this, deplatforming, this kind of thing are exactly happening in China. They're using the similar tactics with the same playbook.
Jason Poblet said if his grandfather, who loved America deeply, was alive today to see how Trump supporters are being demonized, he would be scared.
And then he would tell me, hey, Jason, what are you doing about it? Because you can't go anywhere. I mean, this is it. There's nowhere for us to go.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.